Ladies and gentlemen, Steelers Nation, how are we doing today? This is the Here We Go podcast, and today I'm going to be going over my 2024 Combine winners and losers. Alright, I'm going to start negatively, and we're going to get positive as the video goes on. Alright, so my first loser is Malachi Starks. This is more because of how good another safety did, as opposed to how bad he did. He did alright. He didn't do anything crazy, but he wasn't the greatest. My next loser is Tez Johnson, the receiver from Oregon. He weighed in at 154 pounds, which is very light. That's lighter than most kickers. And he only ran a 4.54, so that's not good for his draft stock at all. He's going to go way down my draft board because that's barely NFL speed, and he's not making up for that barely with his size in the slightest. So that is really bad for him. And my next loser is Harold Fannin Jr. I mean, he was kind of disappointed me with the speed. He was solid in, like, the strength stuff and everything else, like the athletic stuff beside the 40. But I felt like that was, like, the big thing for him, and he kind of just disappointed, you know? And my next loser is Pat Bryant. I don't know exactly how well he did in, like, all the drills, but I saw one drill, like, it was the gauntlet, and I saw him drop, like, one or two balls, and that just can't happen. And then he didn't run like the greatest 40-yard dash or anything to make up for it either. All right, and my next loser is Gunnar Helm, the tight end from Texas. He just had a really bad day in general. I mean, he just was not doing too hot. He had a bad 40, bad bench press, bad everything. Everything was bad. Besides one or two things that I can't remember off the top of my head. He just did not have a good day. Okay, my next loser is Mr. Isaiah Bond, the receiver from Texas. I hated on this guy in like 2 of my last 4 videos, and the hate is deserved. He said, I'm going to break the record. I'm going to run a 4.1 40-yard dash. He ran a 4.4. His fellow Texas receiver, Matthew Golden, did much better, and we'll talk about him later. But it was just, you got to under-promise and over-deliver. He over-promised and under-delivered, which I'm sure many people were not expecting. Like, it was just really disappointing. And another speedster that still had a pretty good day, but, like, it wasn't quite what I was expecting was Arian Smith. Now, he wasn't a huge loser by any means, but, I mean, I was expecting sub 4.3, and he had a 4.36, so that's not bad in any way, shape, or form. He didn't, like, say anything crazy either. It's just I just kind of expected better, and, like, he doesn't really have, like, strength or anything like that to make up for that poor 40. Or, yeah. I mean, and when I say poor, I don't mean like it's bad. It's like 2 seconds faster than me. So I'm not going to like be saying that he's bad or anything because he's very fast. I'm saying for what I was expecting, it was a little bit lower than what I was expecting. All right, and I got 2 more losers. My next loser is Will Howard, the Ohio State quarterback. Oh, man. In the drills, he looked horrible. In the athletic stuff, he looked horrible. But I do respect him for actually doing the athletic stuff, unlike many other people. That we'll talk about one of them in a moment. But I mean, yeah, it's not like he was the worst player we've ever seen. Like, after all, we have seen Kenny Pickett, so like, can't be hating on him too much right now. It also could have just been a bad day, you know. So it's alright. And I know I said we have 2 more losers, but I miscounted and we only had 1 more, so now we're going to move on to the winners. I love talking about the winners more than the losers. All right, let's get right into it. My first winner is Maxwell Harrison. He was my 11th ranked player, and he's only going up. He had one hell of a day at this combine. He was good in the vertical. He was good on the 40. He was really good everywhere. And I can't say I didn't expect that. I knew he was a stud. I knew he was going to be good. My next winner is Isaiah Hodgins, Iowa State receiver. I had him at number 10 on my big board. If you've seen my receiver targets, you know I love this kid. I think he's a stud, and he's going to do really good things in this league. And yeah, he had a pretty good 40 for what we were expecting. 4.5, I believe, something in that ballpark. But that's not really even his like strong suit. He's kind of like a big body guy. He'll go up and get it for you. My next winner was Luther Burden III, the receiver from the University of Missouri. He had a good day in general. He had a good 40, and he was good in all the other stuff he did. The gauntlet, he had one of the greatest reps I've ever seen, I think. And, yeah, he just had a great day in general. Shamar Stewart, athletic monster, like best edge performance since, like, Myles Garrett, I'm pretty sure. Great vertical jump, great everything. Great broad jump. Yeah, I mean, he just did. All right, next up, I got Matthew Gordon, the Texas receiver. He did 10 times better than Isaiah Bond. He was doing better catching the ball. He was doing better on all the athletic stuff, which is what Isaiah Bond's supposed to be better than. But I'm going to stop talking about Isaiah Bond. Let's focus on Matthew Gordon. He's a great kid. He seems like he has a great personality, and he's really a stud. I wish the best for this kid. He's so good. I wouldn't be shocked if he's the number one receiver off the board. For me, him, Tatorian McMillan, Isaiah Hodgins, and Luther Burden, they're all like in the same ballpark. Emeka Egbuka's a little bit outside of that, but I mean, they're all really similar to me. Alright, moving on now. The other safety, early in the video I was talking about, was Nick Emerwormy, the safety from South Carolina. He had one hell of a day. Probably the best safety performance I've ever seen. I mean, he had a good 40 for his size. I think he had like a 44-inch vertical jump, 43 and a half. My apologies. Just some great stuff by Mr. Emerwormy, the South Carolina safety. He's number 33 on my big board, and I'll probably just go up higher. Next up, I had James Pierce in a hoodie. This man ran a 4.47 as an edge rusher. That is very impressive. So congratulations to him. Just got to work on those character concerns. I haven't seen them, but if they're real, then he's got to work on that stuff. Next up, I got Jackson Dart. I thought he had a good day. He wasn't elite by any means, but I think he cemented himself as QB3, and that's a win in my book. The Minnesota offensive tackle, Esre, not quite sure how to pronounce his first name. It's like Ariante Essery or something like that. My apologies. He's the offensive tackle from Minnesota. He had a good day. He was looking fast in the trap drills where you had to like pretend you were like trapping and like you were like you know what I'm talking about. If you got ball knowledge like that. But he was looking pretty good. He truly was. Elic Aomanar, the receiver from Stanford. I'm really starting to like this kid. He seems like a great person from his interview and all that good stuff. He had a solid 40 time. That's not really what he's known for. He's more of like a big body kind of blocker, George. I gotta stop the George Pickens glaze out here, but George Pickens is the GOAT. Don't get that messed up. And Aomanar, he's like a big body. He'll get those deep balls for you. And he did pretty good. My next big winner is Jordan Phillips. He had one hell of a bench press. I believe he had 29 reps, which led the defensive lineman. And that's really the number one thing I look for in the D-line, how good they did on the bench press. So good job, Mr. Phillips. I've been liking you this whole cycle. A lot of people had you like 200. I got you 110, so keep up the good work. Next up, I got the 5th fastest 40-yard dash time from an O-line in NFL history. And that belongs to Jared Wilson, the center from the University of Georgia. Sick 'em, first off. Second off, go Dogs. And third off, this kid's a stud, and who's ever getting him is going to be getting a monster. He might not be that good right out the gate, but after he works on his craft a little bit, he'll become a stud. Like, if he could learn under, like, David Andrews, the Patriots center or something, I think he could really develop into a monster. But my next person on my board, on my winners category, is Brayshaw Tutton, the halfback from Virginia Tech. He was the best running back there in terms of everything, pretty much. Best broad jump, best 40 time, really the best in many things. He's going to go way up a lot of people's boards, including mine. I think he's going to be a stud, and he was a monster here. Next up, I got Quinn Ewers, He was like QB8, QB7. I think he probably put himself above guys like Will Howard and Riley Leonard with his performance at the combine. But I think Jalen Milroe is probably still above him just for the pure potential. But yeah. Alright, next up I got Jalen Milroe, QB from Alabama. He won because he kind of cemented himself as like a top 6, top 5 QB. But on the other hand, why are you not doing the 40-yard dash? Why are you not doing the broad jump? You're an athletic monster. What are you doing? You had a chance to do just as good as Anthony Richardson, and you only throw? Like, what are you doing, big dog? Come on. Next up, I have Donovan Edwards. He's the running back from Michigan. He had a good bench press. He's a big guy. Many people counted him out. Now, look, I'm not here to say he's going to be like Nick Chubb, like prime Nick Chubb, Derrick Henry. But he's a good back. He'll be a solid number 2, solid number 3 for whoever gets him. Next up, I got Dominic Lovett, the receiver from Georgia. This is close to me because he's like one of my favorite players. I like his craft a lot. He's really good with the route running. He had a good 40 time and just an all-around good guy and good player. Next up, we got Ty Robinson, D lineman from Nebraska. He had a very, very, very good 10-yard split, very good 40-yard dash, very good everything, to be precise. He looked good in the drills, all that good stuff. He checks all the boxes for the most part. And he's got some pretty good size, too. And my final winner is a quarterback from Missouri. That man's name, Brady Cook. I did hate on him a little bit in the video, but that was my bad. This kid's a stud. He could be the Brock Purdy of this draft class. Him or Kyle McCord, I think, is going to be the Brock Purdy. They're going to be the sleeper QB that nobody believes in. Because him and Kyle McCord, they're both studs. But back to Brady Cook here. He had, like, the SEC record for, like, least amount of interceptions, which that's a tough thing to come by. There's a lot of good QBs from the SEC. And, I mean, also, he did the best out of, like, all the QBs in the testing, which, I mean, granted, there was only, like, 4. But he had a sub 4.6 40, which is better than guys like Josh Allen and Mahomes. Yeah, so respects to. He's not going to be climbing up draft boards to, like, number 10 or, like, a top 5 quarterback. But, I mean, he's probably, like, 7, 8. I think he probably got above Will Howard, Riley Leonard. Those guys really took big falls for me. I don't know about you. But, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And, I'm seeing that you guys are liking this draft content a little bit. So, I'm going to try to keep putting these videos out because I really enjoy making them. And with that being said, folks, you know what time it is. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go.